Hi, and welcome to Piano Teaching Success Q&A. I'm Gillian Erskine, your host for today's show, as we join piano teachers around the world to be inspired, uplifted, and make our job that little bit easier as we explore our passion for teaching piano. Our very special guest today is the lovely Glory St Germain, who joins us from Winnipeg in Canada. Glory is CEO of Ultimate Music Theory and a champion of never-ending professional development, both as a lifelong learner herself and by developing others and helping others develop themselves through her online courses, membership, and theory books. So welcome, Glory.
Thank you, Gillian. Great to be here.
Well, this year you've done so much because you are also my friend, so I do know a little bit behind the scenes about what you've been doing. And you've taken your mission up a little bit further with summits. You've just been, this is the third summit you've done this year, plus, and we're only in, what is it, April? Just April. And a new book series, which will be released shortly. So firstly, tell us about the summits and what they're all about.
Yes, absolutely. Well, this year I created the Magic of Music movement, and I really wanted to present global music summits to just connect educators. There's so many major issues that are facing the music teaching industry, and it was just really time. So we did our first summit, and that was the Global Music Teachers Summit. And then we did the Global Healing Power of Music Summit, which of course you were a part of. It was so interesting because we all really needed that at this time. And now we're just doing our third summit, which is the Global Piano Teachers Summit. And registration opens today, so I'm very excited. Now, the aim of the global summits is really to connect teachers with music experts from around the world. And I know that you and Paul were a part of them, and I'm so thrilled that you were. It's just to empower educators, just to find that one place where they can maybe just get that one idea that's going to, change the way that they teach and really empower them as music entrepreneurs. So it's just been a blast.
Yeah, well, we've just actually come from a masterclass session with all of some of the speakers, and it was just a lovely meeting up with even more speakers from the summit and around the world. There's just so many learnings, and I think I've also been delving into. I signed up and got my pass to the summit, and I was listening to Bradley Sowash and everybody else talking about some of the learnings that they've had. So what are your learnings? I mean, you've spoken to 55 piano teachers. Yes. So what are your learnings from this?
Well, Gillian, I think I might need to write another book about everything that I've learned in all of the summits. I've actually interviewed hundreds of teachers through the years for, various summits and interviews that I've done. And I've discovered that teachers from all parts of the world, although they're often, completely different in their perspectives of, how should music be taught and whether it should be classical or jazz or note reading to playing by ear. Some of them are all about teaching those early beginners. Some of them talk about teaching adults. And then for all of us, we've gone, from teaching in person to teaching online. That was a whole nother conversation. And then there's, should we teach private or is it okay to teach group and what are the benefits? And the one thing I have learned, though, Gillian, is that they all share one common denominator, and that truly is that we are teachers that are passionate about enriching lives through music education. And it's been a joy for me to be a part of this, and we're really empowering ourselves through continued professional development. And for me, that's what it's all about. As you said, I'm a lifelong learner. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so you've got it's 4 days of, so you can have a free access for about 4 days, and then, but if you can have lifetime access for $47. Tell us about how that all works.
Yes, so the Global Piano Teacher Summit is actually 7 days. So in the first 4 days, there's actually 4 sessions released each day. So there's a total of 16 sessions. And then on day 5, 6, and 7 is a master class with myself, Glory, of course. And we will be talking about mindset, and we'll be talking about strategies, and we'll be talking about tools. And these are really powerful. It's a live event. It's 1 hour in each of the master classes. and it's just really, really exciting. So make sure that you get registered and that you attend live for the masterclass, and the other sessions are all recorded, so you can just watch them at your leisure. And the lifetime access is always wonderful, because sometimes, as you said, Gillian, you just kind of need to go back and kind of check it out and make sure that you've got it all again.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've also been working on a book called The Power of Why, and Paul and I wrote chapters for that book. And I think you might be you're at the editor now.
Yes, actually, I just heard from the editor today, as a matter of fact, Wendy. She's actually from Scotland. And it's always been a passion of mine, has been to learn the why behind the musician's mind. So I created a new book series, which is an anthology, which is a collection of musicians. And each one is contributing a chapter telling their why. And I think it's so important. It really lights me up to understand, why did you do what you did, Gillian? Why did Paul, do what he did? Why did I do what I did? It's really powerful. So the first book in the series of 5 is called The Power of Why 21 musicians created a program. And the first book has already gone, as you said, it's gone to Wendy. She's just one of the 2 editors. And so, so I hope to hear back from them soon. And then we'll go to our next international, best-selling book. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the big things about anything about doing things is certainly having a growth mindset. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But I think one of the other things is taking action. And reading a book like The Power of Why and finding out what sparked other people to do things can sometimes be such a huge motivator. I know I read another Power of Why book late last year, and both you and I were actually contributors to a Power of Why book, and I just found it so inspiring, and just gave me so much energy, and the world of possibilities seemed to open up. So sometimes, it's about learning, but it's also about inspiring ourselves, isn't it?
It really is about inspiring ourselves. And, one of the greatest takeaways as you said, you and I were both in that international best-selling book, The Power of Why. And, we're both course creators and we're both entrepreneurs. And it was interesting to read other chapters that people around the globe feel the same way. We feel like we're not good enough, like we're not worthy, like who am I to do this? Or, if you think you failed, then you probably, in your mind, you have. So how can you step outside of that? And when you read other stories, you go, well, hey, if she can do it and he can do it, why can't I do it? And I've always wanted to, and now is the time. And that's really what the Power of Why is. They're saying, well, why not, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also sometimes the stories some people have championed above all kinds of obstacles, and you think, gosh, they could do that, and they had all of those obstacles. Oh, yes. I could do whatever it is that you've got a burning desire for. Or just a little, ignites that little germ in your mind, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And one of the chapters that we've submitted to the editors is a young man, and he talks about his struggles of, actually being homeless and not even having an instrument except the one that was like underneath this stairwell. And he would go there, it was a piano, and it was like a magnet. And he said, he told his story about, so you're homeless and you know where there's a piano and you just go there and play. So he couldn't afford music lessons, and he couldn't do this and he couldn't do that. And I won't kind of spoiler alert on the story, but for him to become an international, author, composer, piano teacher, like, as I was reading, I was just like, oh my gosh, I thought I had it rough. No, I came from a musical family and, I had piano lessons, but that is the power of why. And he was just drawn to this. And so I thought, wow, that's really inspiring. You have no excuse. All you have is a dream, and you just need to take one step, and then the universe will take a step, and then you take one more, and before you know it, you're living the dream. So dream big.
Yeah, I think that's so true. Absolutely. And so you have done, I just love your positive energy, and you are, and all you do for piano teachers all around the world. So what's your secret, Glory? Share that with us.
Well, I don't know. I don't like to reveal the big secret, Gillian. But since it's just girl talk right now, so I think my secret is, I'll give you 2 secrets. The first secret, I guess, is I live my life with gratitude. I am eternally grateful for the massive, just universal everything that I receive. I'm very grateful, and I acknowledge gratitude every day. And the second one, I think, is the power of mindset. And you can be successful in every single area of your life. And we're dramatically influenced by how we think about our talents and our abilities and ultimately ourselves. So my answer is gratitude, and the big one is mindset.
I think that's true. And in the Forte world, we've been celebrating over the last couple of weeks because one of our schools has just achieved his long-held vision of building a music school from 0 to 1,000 students, which I just think is just amazing. And whether this is a goal that interests you or not, or we can always learn so much from someone who's achieved extraordinary success. And I chatted with David Statham earlier from a coffee shop in Perth, because he hangs out in coffee shops now that he's got a nice business like that. And I started by asking how he created his goal.
It's an interesting one, Gillian. Certainly numbers isn't the only thing we chase at our school. We always said we wanted to be the best. That was our intention, to be the best music school. And seemingly the numbers started to follow that. So we started to look at them with curiosity, sometimes for planning and other reasons. And when we moved into our slightly larger premises downstairs 5 years after the initial journey of being upstairs, we started to put some forecasts out there in terms of what we thought the school would grow to. And at that stage, it was over 900 students. And then we had some problems in the economy, apparently, over here in WA about 2013 when the mining slowed down. Well, I think we dropped our number at that point by a couple hundred students. Yeah. And from then till now, actually, it's been a really tough grind in terms of maintaining and growing numbers, a number of challenges that we've all would have faced during that time. It seems though that the tide is turning again, and we were thrilled to see the database student number tick over to 1,000 for many reasons. And the first reason is back at all those years ago when we got really close to 1,000 students, we booked a party bus. We all decided that we were going to go and have a celebration very soon. And it was at that point where if we just dropped those 200 students, and we've been fighting ever since. Now, I don't know if the deposit's still around somewhere when we go to start making our booking. But to see it tick over 1,000 students certainly was a milestone, and something that we do want to celebrate and stop for a moment and think, wow, to have an aim to be the best, we must be okay to have that many students, right?
I would think more than okay. And I think they're going to hold you on that party bus thing. I saw all the posts in Facebook. It's a very huge milestone in anyone's life to achieve a goal so substantial like that. And if we cycle back even a year ago with COVID, take us back to that time, because there's been some ups and there's been some downs, and that up, we're almost achieving it. And then for some reason, it all going down. Of course, I do remember that time, because before that, in the global financial crisis of 2008, the rest of the world, except for WA, was going,
yeah, that's right.
This is a bit hard. And you're going, hard? Oh, it's not hard. We're building.
Yeah, they were great days. They were good days for us.
You had the mining boom over there then.
Yeah.
But the rest of us were like struggling. And then, but yeah, so you had that highs, and then you've had some lows, and it might be not even a year ago, it was probably about 8 months, about May last year perhaps. It got really difficult, didn't it?
Oh my goodness, yeah. When you started mentioning last year and COVID, I'm sure my happy 1,000 student base went very quickly to one of panic and worry, remembering those days that were, well, I shouldn't say panic and worry, but they were uncertain times. We'd never seen a school. We knew what happened with our school every term. At the end of term 4, there would be many students who were traveling interstate or going to have music somewhere else. So they would leave at the end of that year, and there would be many students at term 1 that would join us. We kind of knew every year and every term what happens. Some students leave, some new ones come. We sort of know what's happening. But yeah, certainly in term 1 of last year when COVID struck, We went from, I think, around 880 students down to 380. So we watched this school that we'd seen steadily grow and grow and grow, just go, oh my goodness, what's going to happen to it? And there was a real sense of, it's going to be okay. There was a real sense of, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think it's going to be okay. And we all rolled up our sleeves and aimed to deliver our content in a real easy for our students to be able, way for them to understand, using Zoom and using pre-recorded lessons. Those turned out to be, I think, a real lifesaver. We had interactive sessions just so the kids could connect and see each other for their own relationships and sanity at that time. We didn't really feel as though we could do group tuition in a live Zoom, so we felt recording the video content so it was clear and concise for the student to understand, and then be able to just meet and mingle as a group was the best solution we found during that those trying times, and would certainly be a solution that we would use again if we were faced with having to, teach remotely.
So just to be clear, and you did have a slightly different approach for different age groups too. I think your little early childhood program was a bit different again, wasn't it? But
Yeah.
if we're talking our Junior Keys
Yeah.
program, which is our 4 years plus, and also all of the other one, anyone over 4, if you like, because you've got children that are in creative keys, more second tier programs and third tier programs, if you like. So
Yeah.
they
It's like the 4 to 8 year olds, right? 4.5 to 8 year olds, that group, 8, 9.
So with those ones, you recorded a video of the actual class of what the class should be like. But then did you have a Facebook group that they all hung out on together, or did you meet in Zoom anyway and talk through the lesson, or what happened there?
Yeah, so we used the pre-recorded lesson and then Zoom groups to be able to connect with the teacher on the day at their normal lesson time. The videos have come in handy now to be used as tools when somebody can't make a lesson for 1 week. We're able to send those tools out now as well. So it's been a worthwhile rolling up our sleeves exercise.
Yes, and you really did double down. I mean, of all of the schools, your decrease was the most dramatic of all, and yet you didn't miss a beat. Like mindset wise, you went right. We're doing this. You doubled down, all of you as the team, doubled down and started with the video. So there was a huge amount of work that you and Jen were putting in.
Yeah, most certainly. Again, I guess our focus is somebody's come to us for some music lessons and we need to deliver them with integrity and in the best way that we possibly can. And we found that was our solutions. The 3 solutions that we had, like you say, one different one for early childhood, the 4.5 to 10-year-old group, and then the private students, another group altogether. Yeah, but they were certainly testing times. Thankfully, in Western Australia, it's one of those things that we're not talking too much about or paying a lot of attention to at the moment. And people are just getting on with things.
This was about 12 years in the making, this success to getting to this number, that a magic number. It's kind of a magic number, isn't it? It's a real huge milestone.
It was, yeah, it is.
So what was
4 digits, it's different.
Yeah. What was important in achieving this success? Like, what were the important factors that led to you to achieve this success?
Okay, the first thing and the most obvious thing to do is to actually set that target. So to have a target, if you've got a target, there's a small chance that you're going to go towards it at least. So the most important thing to do is to have a target, whether it's number of students or number of people that complete an AMEB exam or whatever your target happens to be, is to have a target in place. Once you've got a target in place, your brain works in very creative ways, as we all know, being creative types. And those solutions get given to you, and it's what you end up doing with those solutions in regards to hitting those targets that determine whether or not you achieve those targets. In fact, if you play the blame game and say, well, it's the weather, as we all know, it rains on lucky people and it rains on unlucky people as well. So We can't blame circumstances or anything that's in our way. If we know what it is that we're meant to do to hit our targets, we just have to use that magical word and be able to put a done next to it. It's very difficult to do sometimes. There's so many things that call for our attention and sometimes our reaction. But it's, in my mind, you've got a target, you've got certain practices and behaviours that you need to do in order for that target to be achieved.
And I think, yes, you are a very big believer in putting a done tick next to many things. But I think one of the other things that you have often said is that when I'm going out there, do I want to go and put a roadside picket sign in the roundabout? And when I do, I
Exactly.
imagine all of the students that are going to drive, the parents are driving past and seeing that sign and then ringing me up.
Yep. Yeah,
About
yeah.
that.
It's this initiative that I'm doing is going to have babies. Yeah, it's going to have an impact. It's going to do something. It's that belief that while you're putting that sign in or while you're posting that Facebook post, you're thinking, you know what, someone's going to see this and it's going to attract attention. And if you don't think that it's going to, it's probably not the right initiative.
No, I totally agree. I have did the same. Yeah, it's a something you get, and you get a little kick of excitement over it too, don't you? Because you think, oh, this is
Yeah, absolutely.
everyone's
Yeah,
going to really like this.
yeah. And
All
you've
right.
created something. You've actually got something to be able to see for your work, for your labour. You know? So you've seen and done something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
There's
powerful
something
that we've
about
done.
energy fields as well, isn't it? It's like the energy and the
Mm,
positive energy that you bring to it is somehow in the universe transferred. I think so. It
I
might be
think so.
might be a little
Yeah,
bit, but I do think that that's
yeah. Yeah,
and
what we reap, we sow. Yeah,
yeah. And
no,
finally,
what we sow, we reap. Actually,
yes, what we said we read. Well done and congratulations on the 1,000 students. We are so proud of you. You've always been a leader in our ecosystem and the 4-Day Business Partner Network, and we're so thrilled. Both Paul and I congratulate you and your team very sincerely.
thank you, so much for taking the time out, Gillian. It means a lot to us. And yeah, look, if I'm going to do a little bit of a plug for Forte right now, I can only honestly say that along the way, whenever I've had a need or something that I've wanted help with or assistance with, both you or Paul have never been unable to get a hold of. The support's always been there when I've needed it. As you know, I've got a motto that is, if it's going to be, it's up to me. And at that time, I would never blame yourself or Paul. I'd always ask you for your help. And it's always been there. It's always been, I've never, ever had a situation where it's not been there. And I'm grateful for that. That's something I didn't mention that I was grateful.
Thank you so much and congratulations once more. Thank you. Well, the power of mindset and how it enables us to do extraordinary things. Well, Glory, you do a lot of work in helping teachers with mindset and developing positive mindset, both in the summit and courses you teach. Can you give us some insights in how mindset affects us both in our work as piano teachers and also in building our piano studio business?
Absolutely. First of all, I want to say congratulations to both you and Paul, Gillian, and of course, David. I want to be on the party bus with David. And the question that you asked is really about the mindset. And obviously, David, he's got a growth mindset because he's growing his business. And there's two things. And it's interesting that you asked the question. It's a great question. First of all, there's fixed mindset people, and these are people that believe in their abilities are fixed. This is all I can do. It's as good as I can be. And the growth mindset people believe that abilities can be developed, that we can learn and that we can grow. And you can put your growth mindset to use. You can accomplish absolutely outstanding achievements like David and his 1,000 students, which is incredible. And you can implement the growth mindset into all aspects of your life, both as a musician, as a business owner, and just generally, in serving your community and your family. And I want to share a famous quote with you, and this is one of my favorites. It's by Henry Ford. And I've often used this in, different aspects of my own life. And whether you think, here's the quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right.
It's such a good one, isn't it?
It is a great quote because it's so true. I mean, mindset is everything, and it just emphasizes, how much our attitude and our mindset, it determines our success or our failure. And it's a great quote. I absolutely live by that. So, and the good news is, Gillian, is that if we are all a little bit of both, but the good news is that if you do have a fixed mindset, you can actually train your brain to move into a growth mindset. And also within our UMTC Elite Educator program, we also cover how can you, help your students go from their fixed mindset into a growth mindset. So it's really important, and know that you're not stuck there. You have an opportunity to learn.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Well, recently I spoke with Dr. Carol Richards, who for me epitomizes the power of mindset and how we can do extraordinary things. Carol is an amazing person, now in her early 70s. Only 10 years ago, so that she was in her 60s, Carol learnt to fly an aeroplane and got her pilot's license. I know you're going to enjoy meeting Dr. Carol Richards, and I started by asking her where she's originally from. This could be a surprise.
Oh, well, I'm from the Midwest, Indiana. We are Hoosiers, people from Indiana.
Oh, very good. And when did you come to Australia?
In about 1974.
Okay, so you're definitely an Aussie now.
Yes.
And these days you live up where?
In the bush, Temora. It's a town of 4,000, about 5 hours from Sydney. And it's a lovely little town. I had to get used to living in the country.
I bet you did. But you've also, your many and varied skills and talents. And one of them I was really surprised to know is flying airplanes.
Well, I don't fly all airplanes, but I do fly my little airplane, which is called Jabiru. And by the way, they're made in Bundaberg.
Oh.
And I've had it for maybe 10 years, and I learned to fly. My husband built an airplane, and he was flying, and so I had to have my own. And that keeps the isolation away when I know I can hop in the airplane and maybe fly to Queensland.
Yeah, you have to come and visit me one day. And and you've also not only done that, but you've actually teaching people how to fly. Is that right?
Well, no, I don't teach them how to fly, but I do teach instructors, people who want to teach people how to fly. I teach the how to teach part of their course. So we get into lesson planning and that sort of thing.
Okay, which is right up your alley because you did your PhD in teaching and how teachers generally teach how they were taught. Is that right? I probably have done that very badly.
Oh, no. Look, some years ago, I did a PhD and I studied my university students, and I studied why they made decisions, what kind of teaching decisions they made when they would walk into a classroom. And I looked at their first lesson and their second and their third, and we videoed it. To my surprise, I found the students told me that the reason they chose particular repertoire and the reason why they did it in a particular way was because their music teacher had done it when they were in high school. So despite the fact they'd been at university for 2 years and had spent hundreds of hours in different university courses, when they got a chance to walk into a classroom and teach, they did exactly what their teachers had done to them. They just like, have you had your ears shut for 2 years? And the reasoning was, well, it worked for me. So since it worked for me, they thought it would work when they did the same thing, not understanding the complexity of a classroom, different kids, different expectations, and all the rest of it. So they all did it. They all chose something that had been done to them.
Yeah, we find the same with our in our Forte schools. It's that I don't know. It's that because I think we go back to how am I going to do this? We go back to our own experience because it's so powerful an experience, isn't it?
Yes.
And then we go, oh, that's how we have to do it.
Because they have no other options in their
Yes.
mind. All
Yes.
they have is what was done to them. You know, I started out my PhD by surveying every single education student in the first week of their 4-year course. And they did a survey which said, if you could leave and get a job as a teacher right now, this is after 1 week at uni,
Yeah.
how good a teacher do you think you'd be? Better than the average first year, equal to the average first year, or worse than the average first year? Do you know what 90% of them said?
No.
They all said after 1 week at uni, they'd be better than the average first year. Okay. And that's because they spent 12 years in a classroom watching teachers, watching good and bad and mediocre. And so they think they know about teaching. So that's what we were working with. So their experience plays huge impact on their teaching. And I would think with piano teaching, it's one person teaching one person. So that's just passed on because they don't have any other options. They've never seen anything, not experienced anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's so powerful that the experience of our own selves. And we even found when we were training 4-day teachers in the early days, like 20 something years ago, before we had video, they would say, oh no, you know, we'd explain how to do a class, something with a class, and they go, oh no, that won't work. You go, hang on a minute, we do this in the class every day, and we've been doing this in classrooms every day for like years. What do you mean it won't work? Oh no, it won't work. And it's because they have no framework, I felt, or no scaffolding. There was nothing for them to understand what that would even look like. And
exactly.
Then when we started with the video training and they could see the kids doing it, it just told 1,000 words, you know, 1,000 words. Just seeing is believing. And we were able to give them the experience of it without them having to live it.
You have to see that it actually works.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have no credibility. I mean, and me as a university lecturer, I mean, I'd been out of the classroom 5 minutes, but the minute I walk into the university, I didn't know anything. I wasn't a real teacher.
So how did you move them on then? How did we know? Because if they're thinking they're already going to be pretty good.
All right. So video, as you say, video really changed everything because I videoed their first teaching episode where they'd done what was done to them, and nearly all of them fell in a great heap.
Yes.
So then the next time I was a little more prescriptive and said, now here's your lesson. You have to do this, blah, 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 blah. And they went in and did it and had better success, but they were able to see what was going on. And we used to use the videos and the lectures and say, look, see what's happening with the students and blah, blah, blah. So we used the real experience to help them learn what was going on in the classroom and how to respond, what were their options. So that was helpful. The other thing, though, if they got a chance to teach, which they did, their own ideas, they would talk to their colleagues in the class and find out, have you done anything that worked? And so it turns out the most important thing to them in their first episodes were finding things that worked, which meant getting kids engaged and not being management problems. That was their big thing. They didn't care if they learned anything. They didn't care if they got better. They just didn't want the class to riot. Yeah. And that was the main thing. And it wasn't until after the third phase, after they've taught 3 times, that they started to get the idea that, I can do things that take care of management and children learn. But what about piano teachers? Do they have that possibility to go through, different possibilities, or are they stuck in their little studio by themselves?
Well, yes, very often many choose to do that. I think there's quite a number of, with the Music Teachers Associations always running workshops, and we've been doing, there's quite a lot of online things for people, for teachers to reach out for if they want to. And many do, which is absolutely fantastic. And we've just done this, launched the studio membership with our whole body learning, and to teach teachers about that as well.
I actually saw some of your episodes, and I was excited about that too, because what I'm trying to do is push for teachers the idea of being creative and engaging, because no learning takes place unless the students are really engaged, not only physically but mentally. And to do that, they have to like what they're doing.
Yes.
And so I really like the way you have worked out this whole sequence for teachers. If they did nothing else but that, they would be in good shape, I think.
Thank you so much. And you love taking that a step further. You've created an international association of creative arts music movement and arts. Is that right?
Yes.
Did I get that right?
Music and movement education. Yes. Look, I spent many years as an ORF practitioner, and I still am, but I also noticed that there are lots and lots of creative people out there, like you and Paul, who are doing amazing things in educating children and getting them involved in music in some way. So I started this organization, which is more encompassing, so I can find people who are doing really interesting things and pedagogically defensible things, in that it leads to real learning. It also engages children and adults. At the moment, I am working with a group of old girls, older than me, just for fun at the local council site. And we're doing all the kinds of things I would do with 10-year-olds, and they're having a ball. So, learning doesn't stop, and enjoyment of learning doesn't stop. And that's what IACME is all about.
So the association, you run courses?
Yes, we haven't yet, but we're planning on it. And we would like to, for example, I noticed you had Robin Stavely, Dr.
Yes.
Stavely on, who's magnificent. We'd like to get her to come up and do some workshops in the country. Also, Paul to do some for instrumental work. So I'm like a talent scout. I'm out there looking at what wonderful things people do and trying to act as a forum for them.
So in all of your years and wonderful experience, because you've been a real exponent of the ORF philosophies over the time, what are your big learnings? What are your big takeaways that you would just want everybody, all piano teachers or music teachers, to know?
They have to understand what they're doing. Are they teaching people to play the piano, or are they helping people become musicians who play the piano? And I would hope, it's like pilots. Are you training a bus driver, or are you training a pilot who knows what's going on and how to make decisions? So I would hope that eventually all instrumental teachers use singing and movement and body percussion in their instrumental classes, so that children become musicians who play an instrument and not just bus drivers. So I guess that has to be my biggest learning.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you, Gillian, for asking me along, and good luck with your program. I'm a real exponent of forte music because I think you're doing wonderful things.
Actually, I saw you in a class. I think I was talking to Paul, or I watching a video, and you were in the corner of the video. You were in the
Yeah.
class one day. I know you've been watching it. What do you? Yeah. What have you seen? What do you think about? Yeah. What are your takeaways from watching Paul in action in a classroom?
Well, my takeaway is he's doing everything right. And he's doing things I wouldn't have thought of, but he knows the children, he knows the syllabus, he knows where he wants to get them, but he also can find the most interesting and musical and fun ways to get them there.
Yeah, he does. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, isn't she just gorgeous? And I don't think I
Yes.
want to be that bus driver either. We want to fly, Glory, don't we? We like to fly.
I want to be just like Carol when I grow up. Like, I want to take pilots. Like, it just, like, how amazing is that? Just to decide one day that you're going to become a pilot. I love it. I love her energy. She's so sweet.
She sure is. And sometimes we do need to just fly by the seat of our pants. Do you have a story about a time when you've flown by the seat of your pants?
I think so. I probably have a few of them.
Oh, I think so too. I think we all do. Actually, I think
we all
everybody
do.
our last year with the whole lot getting online feels like they were flying by the seat of their pants for a long time.
Actually, yes. I think last year I saw a lot of teachers flying by the seat of their pants, including myself. And I think teachers were moving so quickly from in-person to online lessons, and they were just trying to figure everything out without freaking out, which, you know, some of them did actually have a little bit of a freak out, and also trying to grow their business, and you just try to do everything all at the same time. So for myself, I went, okay, speaking of your pants, I put on my big girl pants, and I knew that I had to do something to support teachers. And at that time, I decided I would create the UMTC, Ultimate Music Theory Certified Elite Educator Program. And I wanted to help teachers elevate their income and impact their teaching and grow their expert music business. And I am so proud to say that the results have been absolutely amazing. Teachers growing their studios, both financially and in their student numbers. They're, you know, increasing their income. They're embracing this new opportunity. And honestly, Gillian, it has been an opportunity, and we now have teachers from all over the globe, from Australia, Singapore, Zimbabwe, the UK, Australia, the US, Canada. Oh my gosh, I was just so thrilled to have so many educators come in and join us. And now, actually, in fact, if you're interested in learning more about the UMTC Lead Educator Program, I actually added a 3-day Global Music Teachers Mastermind to the summit. And I'm going to be presenting systems on mindset, which we talked about a little bit today, and strategies and tools in order to help you grow your music business. So I'm really excited to be presenting these concepts.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And we'll just put on the screen the link to the summit so everyone can sign up. And we'll also put a link in our show notes as well.
Thank you so much, Gillian.
Well, that's all we have time for today. And I'd like to thank Glory St Germain for being with us today. And we're going to be back in 2 weeks' time with another great episode of Q&A. If you're watching us on YouTube, just click that like button and subscribe. As you know, YouTube curates content. And if you want to make sure you see the latest episodes of Q&A, you need to click that subscribe button. If you're watching us on Facebook or on our website, remember to join the watch list and receive your episodes straight to your inbox. And in the meantime, send us some questions. We've got 3 ways you can do that. You can send us an email, or you can click Ask the Question button on our pianoteachingsuccess.com website. Well, I'd like to thank Paul, who's been producing today's show and is responsible for all the videos and behind the scenes tech. On behalf of all of us, stay well, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.